This is supposed to be chronicle, but it is also my belief. So this is an objective report. Listen. You are aware of 70 weeks of Daniel. One teaches 3.5 years left. Another teaches 7 years left. Okay. This is objective report. Okay. Brother Branham taught 3.5 years from left since the beginning of his ministry until his death. So he only taught 7 years in one sermon. 70 weeks sermon. Now, the mystery here is this. Why did he teach differently when he taught on the 70 weeks? Answer. Also in his sermon. The Holy Ghost guided him. He said himself, the Holy Ghost guided my hand when he taught the 70 weeks. Simple answer. We're not yet looking at the Bible. Which one is biblical? 7 years or 3.5 years? We're not yet talking about biblical aspects. Listen English. I'm just pointing out his sermon. All his sermons are 3.5 years, except one. And he explained it that one sermon is supernaturally guided by the Holy Ghost. You know, if you are a follower of Brother Branham, let's say you're not used to the Bible, you're just a follower of the prophet, you should know that. And others knew that, but they ignore it. Now, let me ask you, if he always taught 3.5 years, and suddenly, in the middle of that, he taught 7 years, is that not strange? Why? Don't you ever wonder why? Do you believe in intervention? They all believe in intervention in the white horse rider. This looks like subjective, but this is actually objective. You know why? They really believe in the intervention to correct him in the white horse rider. That the rider is not Jesus Christ, but the devil. But the spirit of the Antichrist. They believe in that intervention. You say intervention, God corrected him. But they ignore the intervention in the 70 weeks. And you know why? Let me tell you why. Because they have a human philosophy that what he said, the last thing he said is the more correct one. Let's say he taught 7 years only once. Then he taught, after that one sermon, he reverted back to 3.5 years. So they would say, the last thing the prophet said is the absolute. So they made their own absolute. Now what is your absolute? If they're going to base on the prophet's statement, this is what the prophet said. This is also objective report. This is also chronicle. I make mistake. I am a human. I make mistake. He never said, I stopped making mistake after 1963. Isn't it level 3 teaches after 1963 no more mistake? No, he never said that. He said, I am human, I make mistake. I copied a lot of code. I make mistake. After 1963. So, isn't it natural if he makes mistake, even his memory of that sermon, 7 years, he can forget about that. Because when he was asked, are you teaching 7 years or 3.5 years? Isn't it you taught 7 years? In his sermon in the Seals book, he taught 3.5 years. That's 1963. His 70 weeks, it was 1961. 61. Yes. So, they will say, oh, someone asked him after the sermon in the Seals book, someone who remembered his sermon in 1961, Isn't it you taught 7 years? Brother Branham said, if you remember this quote, no, 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 no. Na, 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 na. You misunderstood me, brother. How many of you remember that? Have you heard of that statement? They always quote that statement to emphasize the 70 weeks. His answer to that question, you misunderstood me, brother. What I mean is 69 and a half years, 69 and a half weeks has already passed. We say half week already passed. Only half week left, or 3.5 years left. That was his answer, 1963. In question answer after the seals. If he said that, then they base, oh, the correct one is 3.5 years. Because he said that. You misunderstood me, brother. Now, what was Brother Branham referring to? You misunderstood me. Was he referring to the 61 sermon? Or was he referring to 63 sermon? What do you think? Remember, the question answer was just after the seals opening. What sermon was he referring to? You misunderstood me, brother.
62.
62?
61 or 62?
What sermon? 61 or 63? 61 is 70 weeks. 63 was seals. What sermon? 70 weeks. How about you? You know, Brother Lito, your answer is the Chronicles. I didn't hear it from them. But presumably, they want to explain the way you explain it. Right now, we're going to the series, so I can explain myself.
Because the person was addressing what Brother Branham first teach about the 70 weeks of faith.
They want to believe that Brother Branham was correcting himself what he taught in 61. Now, let me tell you, Brother Lito, since Chronicle has passed, Chronicle time has passed, I can give the series now by myself. Brother Branham was not referring to 70 weeks, 61 sermon. He was referring to the sermon in the sealed book. That's what he was saying. You misunderstood me. He thought that the person misheard him in the seals preaching, not in the 70 weeks preaching.
Seals preaching.
Seals preaching. So what happened to Brother Branham? Seals. We're in the series now.
So Brother
Branham forgot the sermon in 61.
So he is referring to 3.5 years.
Yeah, when he said, you misunderstood me, brother, he was saying to the brother, his sermon on the seals book, the brother misunderstood. But he didn't recall that the brother remembered his sermon in the 61. How do you know that? Because he just finished the sermon on 70 weeks. The question and answer was about the seals. Sorry. The question, he was just finished the sermon on seals. Sorry, correction. He just finished the sermon on seals. So his question and answer was related to the seals, not the 70 weeks.
Yes.
So when he was answering questions, his thought was on the seals. His mindset was on the seals. So his regular carnal flesh, is it level 3, just before 63, they're all erroneous? You include the denominational teaching of 3.5 years. The 3.5 years that he teach that was left, it came from a denominational influence. How do you know that? How do I know that? This is series of my because the XDA and the Jehovah's Witnesses teach that.
Baptist.
Not Baptist. The Baptist teach 7 years.
7 years, yes.
The Seventh-day Adventists, they're the enemy of the Baptist. The Seventh-day Adventists and the Jehovah's Witnesses, and maybe some others, they are the ones that taught that half of the last week was eaten up by Jesus Christ. They're the ones that teach that. So you can check it out in the transcript. You can check it out from the sorry. There's a 3 illustration. The illustration of The illustration of the Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness, the illustration of other end time. Their similarity is the ministry of Christ. I mean, the ministry of Christ took half of the last week. So, if you want to say denominational influence, that's denominational influence. They never realized that. I hope you know this, you post about this, you share this to others. Okay? Brother Sunday is open. I can share to Brother Sunday.
You said that is a denominationalism idea.
Yes, they never realized that.
I mean,
why?
Who said that? Who said that?
You know,
That level before?
no. I'm saying that because that's FDA and the Jehovah's Witnesses were the first to teach that. Christ ministry ate half the 17th week. The first half. So at least you know Branham got something from them. Now you can understand why Brother Branham made it 3.5 years left or half week left. Because of that influence. It's very obvious. It's very obvious. You cannot deny that. No, it was supernaturally revealed. Like the three teachers before 63, that's denominational. Branham was even admitting it. I learned from them. I studied from them. You read that, right? You copy that book.
Will you agree with me that Brother Branham, it's forgetting what he teach during the last 1961?
What he taught in 61, he forgot. You know why? That is supernatural. You know, when it is supernatural, it's not by your own power, your own memory. It was the Holy Ghost. It was God Himself teaching us. It was the Holy Ghost that drew that illustration. You remember? Was it taught in Peralta? God gave him an illustration not by his own power or his own memory. It was the Holy Ghost that guided that illustration, that drawing, that chart, the one you're pointing out, that was drawn by the Holy Ghost. That's what he said. So it's natural he forgot about it. Because it's not himself. His own flesh could only understand what he understood in the 50s. Remember, the teaching of half week left, that's in the 50s. Even from the 50s. So it's natural in 63 he still teaches the same thing because that's how he memorized it. So if he was referring to, so when he was asked, and he was correct, and he said, you misunderstood me, brother. If he was referring to the 61, if he remembered the 61 sermon, he will say that. Oh, brother, I taught 7 years in what time of my life. Sorry, that was wrong. He should have said that. No, he forgot it.
He forgot.
Yes, he forgot about it. That's why he misunderstood me. I was always referring to 3.5 years. I did it. So, it's as though that one sermon is supernatural. If that sermon is supernatural, you cannot remember most of it. It's not something that you're so perfect you remember. That's why I am human, I make mistakes. How did you know? You have evidence from the quote. We're not yet using the Bible. From the quote, we can use the quote to see which one is anointed, which one is supernaturally intervened. Okay? That's my chronicle plus series.
One guy said that